Hello humans, this is Jason, and today I'm playing 5 Parsecs from Home by Nordic Weasel Games. It's a solo-tailored sci-fi campaign game, letting you track a band of ne'er-do-well adventurers across fringe space. So let's dive right in and see what we can find. 5 Parsecs from Home. So first I have to roll up my crew of 5 characters. The results of my rolls on the background, motivation, and character class tables will change my stats and my available starting equipment. And that's how I end up with Agent M. He's tech-oriented and from a major megacity, but hard times have left him stuck with primitive 20th century tech. Then there's Blue, a soldier from an industrial world, Amaranth, a space station ganger, Verdun, a deep space mercenary, and Flavio, a warrior from some primitive backwater. Next, I randomly generate weapons and equipment. Unfortunately, almost all of my models have pistols, so I swapped out some rifles for handguns. But it's a solo game, so who's going to notice? I'm trusting you guys to keep my secret. Shh! To start the campaign turn, I pay 1 credit for upkeep, and then send the crew out on jobs. Amaranth and Verdun train, gaining experience points. Blue goes trading, but comes back with worthless junk. Agent M finds a patron offering a mission. And Flavio makes a new friend. Introducing Dave Duo, the overconfident criminal. Finally, it's time for a mission. Patrons offer better pay than just random missions, so we're going to check out what this guy wants. Phineas Cato, a Unity tax official, is trying to get back payment from a bunch of punks in the inner city. He figures they probably won't pay, though, so for now, he just wants us to go in there and wreck their favorite landmark. It's a statue of their favorite action hero that they had 4D printed. What's the 4th dimension? Love. And finally, onto the action. The crew starts here, and the enemy are over here. The statue is here, but the fight will probably be over before we get there. So, let's start turn 1. The turn starts by testing reactions. I roll 1 die for each of my guys, and assign them to my crew. If the score is less than or equal to their reaction stat, they get to go in the fast phase. Otherwise, they go in the slow phase after the enemy. Now these 4s, 5s, and 6s are garbage. Nobody can use them, so I'm going to get rid of them. Now I need to assign the remaining dice. Amaranth has a reaction of 2, so she's the only one who can use this 2. Everyone else has reactions of 1, but I think I want to give Dave Duo here a head start, so I'll give him the last die. I don't really need to be able to see the dice to know that these guys go first, so instead of actual dice, I'll just replace them with these fast markers. Now we start the fast phase, where all the characters with fast markers get to go. They can each move and or take an action in that order. However, the order that the characters activate in that phase is up to me. Amaranth has a speed of 4, so she moves 4 inches. But there's nothing really for her to do when she gets there, so she ends her activation. Dave Duo has a speed of 5, and his rifle gives him better range, but he still can't see past all the terrain. So he's done too. Next is the normal phase, when the enemy goes. However, the surprise conditions of this scenario means the enemy don't get to go this turn. And so we move on to the slow phase. Lacking any targets, everybody just basically moves forward to get a better angle. Had any of the combatants been taken out of the fight, this is where we would check for morale. But for now, it's just the end of turn 1. Turn 2 starts by once again testing reactions. The 2 1s are the only thing useful this time, and I'll assign them to the 2 guys in the back. And they move forward, and having no visible targets, that ends their activation. Now, in the normal phase, all of the punks go. As aggressive enemies, they'll always try to move at least half a move closer to me. I don't always remember to do that, but that's the rule. The big guy in the back is the gang's leader, Sloth. He has +1 to his combat skill and toughness. This other guy in the cool tank top is Mr. Green, his lieutenant. He also has a +1 combat skill. And then the rest of these punks move forward, aggressively looking for targets. Then we're back to the slow phase. Agent M heads for this barricade, and Flavio is not far behind. Dave Duo makes for the cover of this car. Here I should point out that while he can kind of see over the car, line of sight is blocked if neither party is within 1 inch of the obstruction. Finally, Amaranth moves up behind these containers, and that's the end of turn 2. Now it's time for turn 3. We test reactions again, and our best result is a 2, which only Amaranth can use. She'll move up here behind these boxes, but she doesn't quite have line of sight to the guys across the street. And now it's the normal phase, and it looks like we might see some violence. This punk moves up to where he can see over the car, and takes a shot at Dave Duo. Dave's in 6 inches and in the open, so the punk only needs a 3 or better to hit. But a 2 won't do it. Hoping for better luck, Sloth moves into cover here, and takes a shot at Agent M. Agent M is in the open, but outside 6 inches, so Sloth will need a 5 or better to hit him. And a 4 would miss, but with the +1 combat skill, that's a hit. Agent M's toughness is 3, but his armor makes it 4, so Sloth needs a 4 or better to defeat him. And a 6 is enough. Next, these 3 punks advance. But they still don't have line of sight to anybody. And I totally forgot to move these 2 guys. Oh well, on to the slow phase. Flavio moves up here into cover, and takes a shot at this punk, but misses. Dave Duo moves up here to this car to trade shots with this punk. He hits, and wounds him. And finally, Verdun and Blue just move up. And that's the end of the turn. But since figures were lost, we now have to check for morale. For every lost figure, we roll a die. If it comes up 1 or 2, that's a morale failure. If the player's side ever fails twice, they have to flee. The punks only have to fail 1, but it varies by enemy. The player side gets a 2. Uh-oh, that's 1 down. The enemy gets a 3. They're sticking around. And that's the end of turn 3 and the beginning of turn 4. Rolling for initiative now with 1 less die due to my downed member, I get 1, 1, 2, 2, 4. I'll give Amaranth the 2 because she's the only one who can use it, and the 2 1s to Blue and Flavio. And then Flavio will scooch forward a little bit and take a shot at this guy. And miss again. Blue moves up to support Flavio with his +2 damage Fury Rifle. Unfortunately, it's heavy, so moving gives him a penalty to hit. But he hits! And an 8 for damage will definitely blow this guy to smithereens. And then Amaranth pops off a shot at Sloth, but misses. Sloth isn't going to take this lying down, so he shoots back. And hits! But he doesn't beat her toughness, so she's only stunned, which moves her back an inch, and she can only move or take an action on her next go. Now in the normal phase, the enemies act. This punk will move up behind these containers and shoot at Amaranth. He hits, and wounds her, dang. Mr. Green moves up a bit, and then these 2 guys shoot at Flavio and Blue, but they both miss. And now I get to go in the slow phase. Verdun comes up around this car and takes a shot at Sloth, but misses. Dave Duo hood slides over this car. It's difficult terrain, but it doesn't slow him down much. He then takes cover behind this barricade and takes a shot at the boss, but misses. Now he tests morale. 1 die for each guy we lost this turn. Pass. Pass. It looks like we're both in for another turn. Rolling only 4 dice for initiative this turn, I get nothing under a 3, so everybody's slow. Skipping right to the normal phase, these punks shoot at my guys in cover here, but of course miss. Sloth moves to try to outflank Dave Duo, and it's a close thing, but with his +1 combat skill, it's a hit. He doesn't beat Dave's toughness though, so it's just a stun. Then Mr. Green will move up behind this container and peek out, and he will take a shot at Verdun over here. Verdun is just barely in the open, and just barely outside 6 inches, so Mr. Green will need a 5 or better. And he misses. It seems that I keep forgetting to move these guys aggressively, so I'll have this guy come around the containers to get an open shot at Verdun. Dude, on your right. He'll need a 3 or better, and he misses. Now all of my suddenly slow guys get to go. Flavio has a sword, so he might as well use it. He'll take a charge action, which is the only way to come into contact with an enemy figure. Unlike shooting, brawling is an opposed roll. Flavio gets +1 for his sword, and the punk's pistol at least keeps him from getting a penalty. Flavio gets 2, +1 is 3, uh-oh. And the punk gets a 5. This might have been a bad idea. Her damage roll is 5. Squish. Well, that was dumb. Blue seeks vengeance and misses. And on to Dave Duo. He's still stunned, so he'll shoot since he can't act and move. Unfortunately, a 1's a miss. On Verdun's turn, he'll scooch over into cover and take a shot at this guy. He needs a 3 or more to hit. 3. And a 3 or better to wound. 3. Well, that's cutting it close. But hey, it counts. And that's the end of the turn, so we test morale. We both lost a guy, so we get 4. Okay. They get 2, and that's it. They bottle out, flee the field. And that's the end of the tabletop battle. However, for fun, I like to take my guys and actually go complete the mission. Just gotta get everybody together up here. And now we roll for the post-battle stuff. First, did we make a new rival? No. Next, I roll to get paid. 1. Boo. But +1 for the patron mission makes it a 2 at least. Maybe we'll have better luck on our loot check. Yay, an old droid. I'll have to spend 3 credits to repair it, but then I can add it to the crew. And now the dread moment, rolling for injuries and recovery. Flavio gets a crippling injury and is out of the campaign. Amaranth gets, ouch, a head wound, and she loses half a point of reactions. Agent M visits the School of Hard Knocks and actually learns a thing or two and gains 1 experience point. All of the characters now receive experience points for succeeding in the mission, but not enough to do anything with just yet. I'm low on cash, so I choose not to shop, so now I roll for campaign events. This seems promising. Add a new character to the group. Oh, perfect. I just lost a guy. Now I select a character event for a random character. Seasoned Veteran. Amaranth gets 0.5 reactions, which brings her back to where she started. And that's it. Lather, rinse, repeat. Sometimes there are quests, or rumors you can follow up on. Sometimes it's fun to write down the events and make little stories out of them. So, right after I made this video, there were a bunch of updates to the 5 Parsecs rules. Brawling works differently, the half points are gotten rid of, they've added some extra features to the patrons to make them more interesting. So, that's cool. So anyway, this has been a slightly out-of-date taste of 5 Parsecs from home. I hope you enjoyed it. Gisela Vida.